Being completely absorbed in one's thoughts is like being in a hypnotic trance. From a spiritual perspective, it's like sleeping. A state of spiritual slumber is achieved when one becomes totally involved with each idea that arises. You're having a dream, but it's a dream with some limitations imposed by your history. Thus, there are several dream types that people experience. In terms of your spiritual well-being, you are considered unconscious when awareness is absent. The two types of unconsciousness, spiritual and ordinary, are drastically different. Conventional wisdom holds that one is knocked out when they are unconscious. Regarding the spiritual side of things, though, when you're unconscious, you're one with your thoughts and feelings. You won't appear like that if that's unconscious. As far as anyone can tell, you're not really here. You're lost in your own imagination. A person's beliefs and conditioning obscure their true view of you, even when they gaze directly at you. To be honest, they aren't paying attention to you. There's a tremendous sensation of distance, that's all. This becomes the thick curtain that separates you from the outside world. It's your conditioned thinking and how you perceive yourself. Somehow, you end up alienating even yourself. You start to feel disconnected from who you are. Within your own mind, you are reduced to a mere object. Our species is the only one capable of this. The fact that it develops in the mind is a fantastic evolutionary leap ahead, and other creatures lack it. The growth of thinking abilities, however, came at a heavy cost. The enormous cost was losing touch with your core identity, but there is always a price to pay. What about all the other kinds of life that haven't figured out how to think just yet? I mean, the canine. It might be your dog or someone else's. Most people know at least one dog. A dog does not function on the basis of abstract ideas. Narcissism is still a ways off for the dog. The dog may get excited or start to realize it's a mirror, but it still doesn't form a mental image of itself. Even if it does see itself in a mirror, there is no mental picture for the dog. Someone has no idea who they are. There is no conceptual identity for it. Your dog doesn't feel any emotion towards you. It's not abstract, yet there is consciousness there. That's not a notion. This isn't reasoning. It really is. The majority of the time, when it looks at you, it doesn't have any ego. Some anxious dogs display egotistical tendencies, but that's just because they've spent so much time with neurotic people. On the other hand, the dog's ability to live in the now and its relative sanity in comparison to its owner are miraculous. Even after 30 minutes apart, it acts as if it hasn't seen its owner in a decade when it greets him. What delight! Holy cow! The canine's memory isn't very extensive. It really is. The canine predates rational thought. What is going on with us? Above all else, we are moving forward. Being fully present is that. This means that you are still capable of thinking. Once you do that, you go beyond mere thought. The power of thought is released from you. You can still think, but you've stopped seeing thought as fundamental to who you are. Your sense of self is no longer derived on an internal narrative. So, what are you if you don't have a role in the story? You, on the other hand, are not an inanimate thing that pops into your head. That is why they wanted to know, where is this kingdom of heaven you speak about so often? When they approached Jesus. Asking where it is, nevertheless, the kingdom of heaven does not come with signs to be perceived, he says, continuing, show us where it is. It is already here. There are no signals for it to be seen. You can find it both within and outside, and you can already see it. It's already at my place. In other words, you don't have to work for the awareness that you are. It already exists within you. Because seeking itself, the awareness that seeks oneself, is itself, there is no way to find it. When you say things like, "I'm seeking my authentic self," or "I'm seeking God," you're really hoping that God will materialize as an object in your mind. Due to the transient nature of any mental construct, it would be severely restricted. So, can you realize, and this is crucial, that you are consciousness in addition to, or perhaps more accurately, transcending your individual identity as a person? As far as your life is concerned, this is the one certainty. That's why I term it so-called, you're not just living, you are life. Neither do you. When we tell you, "I have a life," you pick us apart and focus on my life. There is no life apart from you. In fact, you are life itself. Different vibrational frequencies are manifestations of awareness. One thing to keep in mind is that this could be your dream as well as ours. Consider for a second that you are a seat-bound listener to a man. For the sake of argument, let's pretend this is all in our heads. There must be some aspect of the dream that allows it to materialize, even if it is only a dream, and the light of awareness that the dream takes place in is what makes the dream feasible. Therefore, awareness exists before all else. The mind is like the ocean. Feelings and ideas are like the waves that break the surface. They are not distinct. There is no one like you, the ocean. Can you explain that? You are the eternal essence of consciousness. If I am conscious, how can I tell? A theoretical understanding is insufficient. The space between ideas is the only place you can know it for sure. Right now is one example. Here, let's simply try this out for the time being. Recalling details is not necessary. In what way? In any case, you're not. That is, until I specifically order you to do so right this second. You fail to consider your own name. Your email address isn't something you focus on. If I don't ask you, you'll have to dig somewhere for your phone number or your whole history. However, none of this is necessary at the moment. If you are unable to recall anything from the present moment, we shall examine what occurs to you. For the sake of argument, let us imagine that this very second is the only one that has ever existed. My goodness, this very second is all that has ever been. There was no event, and there will be no event in the future. And now this very second is all that remains. Right now, you can't even recall your backstory. Something is here that defies definition, and you can't even recall your own name. Now that you've released your grip on your thoughts, the past and the future, what remains? A peculiar feeling of being there is all that remains. It is certain that this is true of you. The way you phrase it would be, "I am this." Ignorance is not an option. Perhaps everything else is just an illusion when you supplement this profound sense of beingness. Because when you declare "I am," it's a sense of being. It becomes something more. The pronoun "I am" is the first-person singular form of the verb to be, which might be easily forgotten or not remembered by those who aren't well-versed in English grammar. What I'm hearing is completely different. Just say "I be" instead. However, you persistently assert "I am." Simply put, "I am" is being. The feeling of existence, the feeling of not existing, because that already implies being. Being is the source of existence. The Latin word ex means out. The fact that it stands out proves that anything can be seen as existing. A body serves a purpose for some time. Anything can be found. There are sensory impressions. Feelings are real. They become apparent. What makes their existence possible, though, is the presence of an immaterial quality. Prior to the formation of form, there exists a vast expanse known as the unconditioned mind. And it's palpable. This is the profound insight. When you're not thinking and yet can't fall asleep, you might feel it in your body. There is a sense of beingness in the space between two thoughts, even though you aren't thinking. You definitely are aware of the fact. That is beyond your questioning. It is the beacon of self-awareness. Truly, you are that. Consider it a non-object. It is the everlasting foundation upon which all other matters are built. Your decision to come along on this journey of discovery with me is something for which I am profoundly grateful. When you find this message meaningful, comment with the word "now." If you want to learn more about being in the here and now, then you should subscribe to this channel. Join me on this journey of self-discovery as we delve into the wonders of nature, the answers to which lie beyond our wildest imaginations.